What is up, you guys? Adventures with Fibro here. I know a lot of people have followed me recently for my short form content, but what you don't know is I actually really enjoy doing long form content as well. I just fall off the rails when life gets a little bit too crazy or my fibromyalgia is really bad. So I'm back, at least for a little while. I want to talk about Peru. For those of you who don't know, I just got back from 3 incredible weeks in Peru. This was a trip of a lifetime. I recently turned 40 and a group of us decided that we were going to go to Peru for 3 weeks to celebrate our 40th birthdays. One of our friends is 44, but we like her so she can come. It was an incredible experience. I spent a week in Alberta first, visiting my family, my parents, and my sister friend and my brother are out there, my nieces and nephews. I only have one niece and nephew. I don't know why I made that plural, but here we are. My niece and my nephew, and it was a really great time. So I ended up flying to Lima from Calgary through Montreal to Lima. We need to take a quick step back though. So how I met these friends is pretty incredible. My friend Michelle and I, who I know from college from 20 years ago, decided 6 or 7 years ago now, maybe it was 7 years ago now, that we were going to hike the West Coast Trail, which is this beautiful, like, you could do it in 4 days if you're really fast, but like 4 to 8 day through hike in Western Canada on Vancouver Island. If you are a hiker and you don't know about this trail, check it out because it's incredible. You're on the beach half the time, you're in the rainforest half the time, and it's really, really beautiful. While we were there, we met up with another group of people who had just the same itinerary as us. And they are 2 awesome ladies named Patricia and Shannon. Patricia actually lives in Mississauga and I'm right downtown Toronto, so we're very close to each other. Shannon lives in the Maritimes and we just became really good friends. So the 4 of us are the group that went down to Peru together. Patricia and I have done some through hikes together. She took me on my first portage. We've had a lot of fun, and Shannon is a runner friend who actually offered to come and support me through my first half marathon and also decided to do my first marathon with me. So incredible humans, love them to bits. Michelle and I hiked the Grand Canyon a couple years ago together, and yeah, just 3 of my favorite people. So Patricia is the planner of the group. So she planned most of it. Shannon would be kind of second tier there. She helped the planning process and Michelle and I were just kind of like along for the ride. About 20 years ago, I decided that I wanted to hike the Inca Trail. I didn't know anything about it. I have no idea what sparked that desire in me. It was there and that was the goal. And I kept thinking in my head, when I turn 40, I want to hike the Inca Trail. I don't know why that desire hit me because I'd already been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I wasn't active at that time. My body was barely hanging on. My 20s were a very, very difficult time for me with my pain journey because I hadn't started being active yet. I didn't start to get active until my 30s, so I didn't start building that resilience and that kind of determined kind of drive that you need to do something like this until I was in my 30s. So I don't know what I was thinking, but I decided I wanted to do it. And then Patricia and Shannon are just the type of people to make things happen. So is Michelle. And I'm the dreamer, but I have really bad follow through. They made the follow through happen. So that's kind of the backstory. This is gonna be over a couple of videos. I'm not gonna tell you everything that happened in one long video. So today we're just gonna talk about the first couple of days in Lima, and we also did a really cool excursion. So the trip itself was phenomenal. There were some less than positive things that happened. You're somewhere for 3 weeks that you don't know. It's probably likely that something not great is going to happen, and it did for me. Within our first hour of being in Lima, my luggage was stolen off of the baggage carousel. I don't want to focus on that. I don't want to harp on that, but I will say this. Everyone did everything that they possibly could. The police got involved. I went to the tourism police in Lima. They got involved. We tracked it with my air tag. I know where it is, but because an air tag is only, it gives you 100 meters, they went to, it's like 5 hours north of Lima, okay? And I tracked it, I watched it go. And the police up there went door to door in the area where it is, and they knocked on doors, but they couldn't go in without a court order. They tried everything they could. Obviously the people lied, and I just had to replace all of my stuff. I'm still in the process of replacing all of my stuff now that I'm back. But yeah, it was really hard for me the first couple of days, and I just wanted to come home. Now, am I ridiculously glad that I didn't? Yes. Certain things are easy to get in Peru. Like, listen, in hindsight, I should have packed differently. I had a few clothes in my carry-on, but I didn't pack like important medication. I didn't pack my hiking boots, you know, things like this that I know that I need to pack. I hadn't done. It was all in my suitcase. I hadn't had a clear mind when I was packing, and now I won't make those mistakes again, okay? So you don't have to come at me in the comments. I know better now. But I will say, I was able to get my antidepressant just over the counter, easy peasy. I was able to get some altitude sickness pills because we were going to Cusco, which is around 12,000 feet of elevation. So like, or sorry, 12,000 feet of altitude. So like, things like that were easy to replace. But I am a plus-sized woman, and people in Peru are small. So I had a really hard time replacing just general clothes, but did the best that I could. Also, I will say the gentleman from the airline that I spoke with really tried his best to help me. He was with me for days trying to help me, to the point where he was actually contacting me from his personal WhatsApp number, because he just really wanted to make this happen for me. So we tried the best that we could. I tried every single possible avenue that I could to get my stuff back, didn't get it back. So let's just put that aside and move on with the good stuff. So we land in Peru, my stuff gets stolen, I'm panicking, I'm not doing so great. We ended up staying in an Airbnb right off the bat that Patricia had found. And it was lovely. It was really, really great. So Lima, not the safest city. Yeah, not the safest city, but there are 2, maybe 3 areas that are really safe for tourists, and that's Miraflores and Barranco. On our first visit to Lima, because we came back obviously before we had to fly out, on our first visit we were in Miraflores, and it's lovely. It's really nice. We were approached by people, but like, of course you're going to be in any city. And one of the first things we did, because we got in very early in the morning, was just try to replace some of the things that I needed right off the bat. So like medication and things like that, which we did. Went out for some food, very easy to find, great restaurants in that area. And then we went to a place called Park Kennedy. Park Kennedy, now I need you all to understand, we are all animal lovers. And Patricia, Shannon, and I have all had cats at some point in our lives. Right now, Shannon and I both have cats, and we love them dearly. Park Kennedy is an incredible, incredible park in Miraflores where they celebrate cats. And we actually just happened to be there during like there was like a cat festival going on, and they kept trying to encourage us to like rescue cats. And we were like, yeah, maybe, maybe we'll take a cat home. So this park is incredible because there are just cats everywhere, and people really respect them. You can run across a cat just like sleeping in the middle of the walkway, and people will just like give it its space. Except for children, you know, like adults are really just respectful of the cats in this park, and there are little homes for them. People come around and feed them. There's water for them. It's a safe place for them to be. Apparently, you can actually go through the adoption process of adopting one of the cats in the areas if you want to. They also kind of like roam around the area. So apparently there's one cat that's really well known for like hanging out at a bookstore, and people really just take care of these cats and respect them. So as massive cat lovers and animal lovers, we loved Park Kennedy, and I highly recommend you checking it out. I didn't take a ton of video while I was in Peru. It's mostly photos, so a lot of what you're gonna see is just gonna be overlaid as I talk, and I'm sorry about that, but I wanted to be a little bit more in the moment. I didn't want to be recording every single thing. So I also didn't know if I was actually going to talk to you guys about this or not. So clearly I've made my decision. After checking out Park Kennedy, we walked over to Larcomar. I don't know if I'm saying that properly, but it's basically it's a shopping center right on like the cliff of Lima, and it's quite beautiful. You wouldn't actually know that there was a shopping center there. You walk in and it's on the cliff. So Lima is right on the Pacific Ocean, and there's a very intense big road right beside the ocean, and then there's just this massive cliff that's like slowly eroding and like everything is kind of up on top of the cliff. So this shopping center has been kind of built down into the cliff. So I needed to replace all of my clothes. I needed to replace my hiking boots. I needed to replace a lot of stuff. So this shopping center has the North Face, it has Solomon, it has Columbia, it has all of these places that we thought that we might be able to find me some clothes. The funny thing is, besides one t-shirt at the North Face, I actually ended up buying everything, all of my clothes at Under Armour, and most of the clothes I bought were male because they fit me. They had extra large in male sizes and they fit me, so that's what I went with. Didn't get everything I needed on that journey, but got enough. I will also say, I have a friend whose parents grew up in Lima, and she was really, really helpful through this time, and I'm very, very thankful for her. She let us know that taxis, not the safest to take while you're in Lima, but Ubers are very safe. So we took Ubers a lot of the places where we wanted to go, and that always ended up being completely fine. It also ended up being ridiculously cheap when you do the conversion from soles to dollars. So that was good for us. I will also shout out my friend Thomas. He's a fellow hiker, and he is an incredible, incredible human. You definitely want to go follow him on Instagram. I'll put his Instagram handle here. He's working his way up to hiking 8,000 meter peaks, and he just completed Kilimanjaro. He's going back to Ecuador soon, and he's just an incredible, incredible human. He's one of my buddies here from my gym in Toronto, and he and a friend of his actually sent me $500 so I could replace my hiking boots, which was so sweet. So sweet. He didn't tell me I had to stay quiet about it, so I'm shouting it from the rooftops. He's an incredible human being, and I'm very, very thankful for him. That was basically our first day in Lima. We were just trying to stay awake. Our second day, we actually had a 5:30 a.m. pickup, so we went to bed quite early. And the next day, we had a big excursion. We were going down to Paracas and Huacachina. We went with Peru Hop. Peru Hop is a really, really great and safe way to get around Peru. If you don't want to fly from place to place, we flew basically from place to place, but Peru Hop can get you to different cities and kind of like, they'll drop you off. If you want to bus to Cusco, you can bus to Cusco through Peru Hop. And it's a really safe way to get around the country. So highly recommend Peru Hop if that's something you want. We opted just to do a day trip, so we ended up leaving. They picked us up just down the street from our Airbnb. We ended up having that pickup at 5:30, and we drove 3 hours to Paracas. Paracas is a cool coastal town. There's not a ton to do in Paracas, but having done a little bit of research, it is a good kind of like point to stay at if you do want to do some of the things that are in the area. So that's something to check out if you do want to check out Paracas. We went because we wanted to see penguins. There are penguins, it's the humble penguin, in their natural habitat off of the coast of Paracas. And so it's the #1 thing to do in Peru based off of TripAdvisor, apparently. I don't know. I haven't like fact checked that, but that's what they claim. So we got in the bus and we headed to Paracas. Once we got to Paracas, we very quickly got onto a boat, and we weren't able to go to the island that they said they were going to be taking us to because of just the weather wasn't great. But we went to another island and we were able to see the sea lions, tons of sea lions. We saw a bunch of penguins, Peruvian boobies, which is a type of bird, and lots and lots of birds. It was an incredible, incredible, incredible boat ride. We also learned a lot about the culture and the history and a lot about the animals that live in that area. It was very, very cool. So it's known as the Paracas Candelabra, or El Candelabra, which also means the trident. It's a prehistoric geolith that is on the north side of the Paracas Peninsula, can't speak English, of the Paracas Peninsula in Pisco Bay. Pottery found near this giant candelabra has been carbon dated back to 200 BCE. This thing is insane. It's 2 feet deep. The whole structure is 2 feet deep. It's not a structure, it's a geolith. But you know what I'm saying. Whole thing is 2 feet deep. It's 600 feet tall, and it can be seen from 12 miles away. Now, it's windy in Paracas, but because of where this is, I don't fully understand, but like, it has never been blown in. There are rocks that they think were put there at a later time that surround it, that kind of help keep it safe. But like, this thing has been there for hundreds of years. No one knows why it was put there. No one knows who put it there. There's even the thought that maybe it was aliens. Like, I don't know, but it's really crazy. I had no idea this was a thing, and we pulled up to it on our boat, and I was like, okay, what is that? And they explained it, but it's very, very cool to see. Peru has designated it a National Heritage Site. So if you actually approach it and destroy it or like damage it in any way, you can actually go to jail for 3 to 6 years. Crazy. After the boat tour, we went to a hotel where we had some dinner, which wasn't dinner, it was lunch, which was really delicious. And then we headed back to the bus for another 1.5-hour ride to Huacachina. Huacachina is the coolest place. It is the only natural oasis in all of South America. Surrounding it are the highest sand dunes in all of South America, and it is so beautiful. It is just outside of the city of, I believe it's called Ica. Again, I could be pronouncing that wrong, but Ica. And there's not like a ton to do in Huacachina. The big thing is dune buggy rides in the dunes. Peru Hop with this package offers a 2-hour dune buggy ride. Most other expeditions only offer a 1 hour, so we got a 2-hour dune buggy ride, which was incredible, as well as sand surfing. Y'all, we went sand surfing, okay? It was crazy. We did the first little hill and we were all like, okay, that was really cool. And then the guides were like, go up there. And we hiked up the sand and we're at this giant, giant hill. And we were like, oh, we're going down that now. Now, it's a lot slower than you think it's gonna be, so it actually wasn't that bad, but it was really cool. It was so fun. The dune buggy was incredible. The sand surfing was incredible. And just to see this oasis was very cool. If you are, I was gonna say if you are a younger person, but just if you like to travel differently than I do, if you're like into the club scene, if you're into like the bar scene and whatnot, that's not really my thing, but if you're into that sort of thing, then I highly recommend spending the night in Huacachina. It's a little bit of a party town at night, you know. You could kind of get that vibe from the hotels and whatnot, but it's a very beautiful place. I might honestly just go back just so I can hike up a sand dune at night and see the sky, because it was incredible. It was so beautiful. One of my favorite parts of that day was just seeing the oasis. There's just this beautiful lagoon right in the middle, all of these palm trees everywhere. You can go on paddle boats around the lagoon, and it's just so beautiful. The sand surfing was incredible. The dune buggy ride was insane, and then we got to see the sunset, and it was really, really beautiful. We then hopped back onto the bus and went back to Lima. I think we got back to Lima around midnight. On the bus ride, they played Mrs. Doubtfire, and they started playing a movie about Eddie the Eagle, which was really, really funny. If you don't know about Eddie the Eagle, give him a little Google. It's a funny story. What a lovely human being. Anyways, we got back to Lima and promptly went to bed. The next day, we just had one more day in Lima on this journey. We let ourselves sleep in a little bit, and then I had found a store very much like in Canada, like Mec, or in the States, like REI, and it's called Tattoo with, I was gonna say with one T, it's two T's as opposed to three T's, it's Tatoo. There's actually I think two in Lima and there's one in Cusco, but it's a good outfitter company if you need to replace things. I was able to find some really great hiking boots there. I was able to find a couple of extra layers, some socks, some jackets, things like that I really needed to purchase. And they also had gels and goos and wafers, and they had gluten-free wafers, which I need when I'm hiking. So that was really a phenomenal find. So after we spent way too much money there, we jumped in an Uber and went off to the coast again. We ended up going to a park called El Faro. I believe it's El Faro Park. El Faro Park. There's a beautiful lighthouse there. Shannon really loves lighthouses, as do I, so we wanted to see the lighthouse. And then we walked our way back to the mall. As we were walking to the mall, we passed through another beautiful park called the Love Park. And in this park, there's this giant statue, and it depicts the sculptor and his wife making out. It's really cute. The sculptor is Victor Delphin, and it's a beautiful little park full of love. We headed back to the mall that we went to 2 days prior, and then eventually made our way. Actually, you know what's funny? I just remembered we went to TGI Fridays for dinner. All of this beautiful Peruvian food. We knew we were going to Cusco the next day, and we decided to get like nachos, like chicken fingers and stuff at TGI Fridays. Yeah, it's really, really funny. Also, the big alcoholic drink to have in Peru is a pisco sour. And so I think someone had a pisco sour. I'm not really a drinker, but I did have one, and they are quite good. They're quite delicious. Those were our first 3 days in Lima. Constantly tracking my luggage, constantly in touch with the police and with the one guy from the airline, and there was a lot of texting. Thankfully we had eSIM cards that we were using, so we were able to stay in contact with everybody. Shout out to my dad who offered to send me some money to help me out. Anyways, those are our first 3 days in Lima. We did Miraflores, Paracas, Huacachina, and a lot of shopping. A lot of shopping. The next day we got up super early to fly to Cusco. And I will tell you all about Cusco and hiking the Inca Trail and fun little surprises that came along on that journey in the next video. Thank you for being here. If you've made it this far, comment, oh boy, comment the kiss below. That's the name of the sculpture. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and hit the bell. Those likes and subscriptions really help me and really help just put my content out for more amazing people like you. So thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Make it a great day.